welcome to this special podcast on the impacts of co-producing research. I'm your host, Paul Boland, a Senior Research Assistant here at the University of Lancashire and part of the implementation and capacity building team for ARC Northwest Coast. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of co-production with two fantastic guests. We have Dawn Allen and Neil Joseph, two of our ARC public advisors. Welcome.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Within ARC, co-production is at the heart of the research we do. An example being the Connected Communities project, which everyone here, including myself, has been a part of. Connected Communities is a project about community signposting services. This includes support like social prescribing and neighbourhood coaches. And they signpost people to find local non-clinical support and activities in their community. From our research, we've developed an online sustainability toolkit for community signposting services to support managers in keeping their services going. And a link is available in the episode description. So, with that out of the way, let's find out a bit about our guests. First up, we have Neil, one of the public advisors at ARC Northwest Coast. So, Neil, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to work with the ARC?
Oh, thanks, Paul. I've been involved in many different projects over the years as a public advisor, trying to make sure that co-production element is embedded in the research. And it's been a great privilege for the past, I think it's over 3 years now, to be involved with Connected Communities with yourself, Joe, Dawn, and Catherine and the team.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Paul.
Next up, so we have Dawn. Could you tell us a little about yourself and your role as a public advisor?
Thanks, Paul. I have been involved in health research probably for about maybe over sort of 10 years, really. I came into this particular project when there was some local research for our local community in Haslingden. And just got connected with different people, and then I was approached by the research team to be involved in this work, and it just kind of went from there, and here we are 3 years towards the end of the project doing the podcast today. So
excellent. Let's just see. So how have you both been involved in the Connected Communities project? Should we start with you, Dawn?
Yeah, well, there's been numerous things I think that we've kind of been involved with. I mean, right from the beginning, I remember we were looking at patient information documents. We've been involved in lots of different things, right through to looking at transcripts and coding for interviews and focus groups, and also we've done a lot of work with looking at and being involved in illustration work as well.
Okay, and Neil?
So, the illustrations we produced for the Life Rooms and for Sefton Community Connectors, I think it was.
Yes.
That was brilliant. Allowed us to be really creative and try and capture what was being said in the academic paper that was behind it. But for a lay person to be able to look at and read and connect with it straight away and understand what was going on, why this document was important.
It's been good to be involved in different parts of the project as we've gone along, really. I think it's been great to do different things, and we kind of went through a bit of a process where we were looking at what kind of things we enjoy, where our skills are, and we found like a niche, really, with the illustration work. And then when we started to see it on the documents and the posters and everything else, it really brought all the other information to life, these
definitely.
drawings. And we still illustration used quite a lot in research, but I think as a team, I think we work really well together.
As I said at the outset, this podcast is about co-production. So I guess my question is to you is, what does co-production mean to you? Dawn?
Co-production, I think, is when you've got a good combination of research professionals, people who were sort of, in the general public domain or may have had experience in working in research before, and having that kind of, what do you want to do? How do you want to be involved? Being able to have that conversation with people and bringing the two skills together. and being in it from the beginning as well, which I
Yeah.
think that was good. What was really successful about this work was we were sort of involved in the beginning, and how would we like to be involved? When would we like to meet? The sort of relationship between the public advisor and the researcher was kind of, there wasn't that power dynamic
Yeah,
sometimes that you do
absolutely.
get, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and we kind of like work together really well. And I think that's a big part of what co-production is. And when you get that combination of different people working together, it can really work quite well. What
Yeah.
about you,
Yeah,
Neil?
no, fully agree. Especially about the kind of power dynamic. I think that when a researcher goes into a project and they genuinely want true co-production, they will go and search for the skills for their public advisors, what their best strengths are. And the team really did that with Dawn and I felt. Um, I think true co-production, to me, it means exploring things that aren't really obvious at first. You know, looking at little kind of creative creative methods for making something come alive. But there are many other ways. We were involved in an exercise called the Grip 2,
All right,
right
yeah.
the way throughout the past 3 years, which looks at how has co-production been embedded in this particular project.
Yeah, 'cause it's quite a reflective document, isn't it?
Yeah,
Our process,
yeah,
in that you were, what could we, what did we do? How did we do it? What could we have done differently in the future? And then that document can be used again in the future as a way of maybe working into another project or changing things. But what I quite liked about the co-production that we had was there wasn't that awkwardness about speaking up about something that you
yeah,
weren't entirely, or challenging things that you felt, and you had that open invitation to challenge things as well. And I think that is very fundamental to co-production, where you feel you're able to say, actually, I'm not really sure that would work, or how about we do that, or that kind of process, I think, is
hmm,
like the basis, really,
yeah.
isn't it, of co-production. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dawn. I think, Paul, it all comes down to kind of the atmosphere that was set for us right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, Jo mentioned to us, she wanted to find out how we'd like to be involved, but how frequently. Um, you know, how often we'd like to meet, what the content of those meetings would be. So we were coming together to, knowing that we were going to be productive and something would come out of it, which was positive for the work. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
And co-production as well is about when there's bumps in the road, because I know there was times where I needed to take a bit of my foot off the gas and not do stuff, or I wanted to do stuff and I couldn't
Yeah.
due to different reasons. And that flexibility was there. That option of being a bit, I'll try that, but no, I didn't actually like that. Um, and that's okay. You're able to sort of be involved, and then if you needed to come away from things and have a bit of a breather, you could do that. And I think that is a skill, which is a credit to the team to allow that to happen. Because when you're working with people, you need to be able to feel that there can be that flexibility.
Yeah,
And I think that is like a really like a skill to manage when working with people, I think, you know.
yeah. And something important I don't mention then, Paul, if I may just briefly, was
No,
about
no.
kind of not being afraid to challenge in a a critical friend
Yeah.
kind of way. Um, there were certain parts that we of the, especially with the summaries and the public facing documents, Dawn,
Yes.
where we both said, well, what about phrasing it this way instead of, and Joe was really receptive to this and, took on board our suggestions. And so, yeah, it was really very positive.
Yeah, and things like I'm neurodiverse, so with a lot of information on one page for someone who's autistic, that is the brain processes things in a different way. So I would sort of suggest, well, actually, I think that's a lot. Why don't we have an image there and make that paragraph a little bit less, and space out the paragraphs, make the page look a bit more lighter, so when you're looking at it, it's not overwhelming and things like that. So that I've been able to sort of bring that in a little bit, which has been quite good, because obviously now we're living in the times of a lot more people recognised and having late diagnosis of autism. Yeah.
Could you just tell me a little about any other things that you co-produced on the project?
There's been quite a lot of things, haven't there, Neil, that
Yeah.
we've kind of. Do you want to?
Well, we did I think we did a plain English summary, which looked at some of the academic language being kind of framed more for a non-academic audience, which is really interesting.
I think the coding. I particularly
Yeah.
enjoyed the coding.
Yeah,
And I don't know what it is about, like looking at coding, looking at all the different areas, and I think the three of us met up online a few times to sort of look at. This is where we think some of the themes are coming through in some of the transcripts of the documents. That was quite an interesting process to be involved with. Are we agreeing that these are the themes that are coming through in the documents? Is there anything that we haven't identified? And I think there was a few suggestions of us pointing out maybe a couple of things that we maybe felt were missing. But I think that side of things is really interesting. I know you particularly liked being part of the focus group stuff. I was particularly like, that's not for me. I much prefer talking to people one-to-one. I tried it. I
yeah,
didn't like it.
yeah.
And
Give it a go.
that's all part of
Yeah,
it, isn't it?
yeah, of course. Yeah,
You know,
seeing what fits.
seeing what fits. And I think that's another a good thing as well, is having a go at doing things that you necessarily not aren't the right fit for you. You know, and that's been a good experience to go through. I think being able to give it a go is important. Yeah.
So finally, to wrap things up, would be your one piece of advice to anyone wanting to get involved in co-producing research in the future?
I think for anyone, so from another person who wants to be involved in this kind of thing, is just not being having to think about, first of all, what your interests are, what you kind of enjoy doing, what you maybe don't really feel is a good fit for you, and having to think about that and sort of saying, look, these are my experiences and these are my skills. How could I bring that to the project? Which is, I think, a good example of what happened with us. And also, not necessarily related to this question, but maybe there's an opportunity for more of this type of work to be broadly known about in the public domain, because I don't think it's a small circle of people that get involved, but
Yeah.
I think that it'd be great to be able to reach a lot more different parts of communities to be involved in this kind of work. Because obviously, once you do this kind of thing and you get into a bit of a network of people and that kind of thing, it kind of grows to the same group of people. But it'd be great to see it marketed a little bit more for different parts of the community, different people with, you know, different experiences to bring to it. Yeah.
No, fully agree with Dawn. My advice would be just jump in. You know, if you're genuinely interested in applied health research, bring whatever your skill set is and suggest it, push it forward. You know, be brave, look for options within the research that could kind of maybe not change what it is, the research question, but enhance it and find out. I think what you said before, Dawn, about widening research to people who are not familiar with it, to, you know, members of the public, is really important. And I think projects like this that have been so equitable and co-produced, you know, really genuinely and sensitively, would really encourage other people who may not be confident about health research to be more involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you both for your time today and your contribution to the Connected Communities
Thank you,
project.
Paul.
And thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you all.
Thanks very much.
Take care.